Listen to part of a talk in a paleontology class.
Megafaunal extinction. That's the term used to describe the sudden disappearance of large species. The last such event occurred around 17,000 years ago in North America. Among the victims were the woolly mammoth, the saber-toothed tiger, and the short-faced bear. What's really interesting is that this event occurred at roughly the same time that humans arrived on this previously isolated continent.
Well, yeah, everyone knows that humans migrating into North America hunted the mammoths to extinction. You learned that in, 6th grade.
Wait a minute. I thought that mammoths died because of the end of the Ice Age.
Well, you two have touched on the basis of our discussion for today. What caused these megafaunal extinctions? Were humans really the culprits? That certainly jibes with our modern reality, where our actions and destruction of the environment are driving a great number of species to extinction. But did early humans really have such a profound impact on their environment? That's open to debate.
Come on, even you said that these animals went extinct within a few years of the arrival of humans. Doesn't that just seem a little too convenient?
I'll admit that it would be an incredible coincidence, but that doesn't rule it out.
I read somewhere that mammoth bones were found near early settlements or something. Doesn't that prove it?
Not necessarily. We know that early humans were opportunistic scavengers. That in addition to actively hunting animals, they scavenged the remains of animals they found dead. So perhaps this was the case with the mammoth bones. More convincing evidence comes from mammoth vertebrae that have been found with spear points embedded in them. So clearly humans were capable of hunting and killing mammoth-sized creatures. The question is, did they do it often enough to account for the extinction of the species?
Even if humans did hunt mammoths into extinction, that wouldn't explain what happened to predators like that bear you mentioned, or the saber-toothed tiger.
That is true, but that doesn't mean humans couldn't be responsible for their extinction. Large predators need large stretches of territory to sustain themselves, and when humans encroach on that territory, it puts tremendous strain on these animals. Look at the plight of today's tiger in India or the jaguar in Central America.
I still see a problem with that scenario. Large modern predators like tigers and jaguars are endangered because there are billions of people on the earth today. We've basically taken up every possible piece of land. But when the first early humans moved into North America, they came in relatively small numbers. Even as they spread out and their population grew, there still must have been enough land for these large predators to survive.
That is an excellent point. So if it wasn't humans, could it have been climate change? We know that these extinctions occurred just as the last major period of glaciations was ending and temperatures were beginning to rise.
I can understand why colder temperatures might lead to extinction, but wouldn't warmer temperatures be good for most animals?
Well, not for animals specially adapted to cold climates. Take the polar bear, for example. It relies on ice sheets as hunting grounds for seals. As global temperatures rise and those ice sheets melt, well, it's bad news for the polar bear, isn't it? It's important to note that most of the species that died out at this time were very large species. In general, large size is an adaptation to colder weather. The fact that smaller animals survived does lend some credence to this theory.
All right, but this wasn't the first ice age to end. There were earlier periods of warm weather, right? So all these big animals were able to survive these earlier periods, but then, just as the first humans arrive on the continent, they all just happen to drop dead because of climate changes? That just doesn't make much sense.
So it seems like we're stuck. One possibility we haven't looked at is a combination of human interference and climate change. Maybe one of these factors alone isn't enough to explain the extinction, but together they might make a better case. But let's not call it a closed case just yet. There are a few avenues we have not discussed, and it's important that we exhaust all of them.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer.